guess mama was right. 'Cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder, till the darkness pulls me under. I guess mama was right. 'Cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder, till the darkness pulls me under. I guess mama was right. 'Cause when the clock strikes midnight, gonna ride the lightning, feel the thunder, till the darkness pulls me under.
Welcome to the Smokin Jokin show. My name is Beth King, better known as Crayon Eater's wife. Here with my amazing husband and partner in crime, Jimmy King.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us here in the Smokin Jokin show, episode 102. So big excitement. You know, we're working on getting our numbers up there. For anybody who has instantly joined in, if you could please highlight in the comments, it'd be greatly appreciated. Let them know we're out here putting a show on. We've got some great information for you tonight, and hopefully put a smile on your face. So tonight we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Fahey with us, Navy veteran, and I just lost it. I'm TBI bearing it.
It's okay. You've done 101 episodes.
Outreach coordinator. There we go.
Veteran outreach coordinator for Stone River Recovery.
Correct. Yeah.
Chris, how you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us here on the show.
I'm doing great. I was actually watching your old episodes before I came on, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but you guys do have a lot of fun, and I can see why you've made it. 100.
You're still here? Wow. Kudos to you. Well, we're really glad to have you here. One of the things that I know we joke around a lot, but one of the things we do really want to break is the stigma against mental health issues and PTSD. And I love your story. You have an amazing story. And talking to you last night, we heard so much more. So I'm really just excited to dive in and let you. I know this is probably could be 2 or 3 episodes with you with everything you've gone through. So let's just dive in and hear about your service and what's led you to this path.
You kind of started on the right tone when you think about stigma, and the definition of that term is a mark of shame or disgrace, community or public disapproval. And I think that term can apply to a lot of things, but when you think about shame, that's where everything I've ever experienced kind of started, and it started way before me. I know a lot of people can identify with this. My dad was 0311. He was Marine Corps infantry. By all accounts, he was a good man. He joined the military early, following the footsteps of his father, my grandfather, who fought in World War II in the Army. And I'm not exactly sure, what he had going on mentally and emotionally. I know he was smart. I know that he had talent, a lot of unrealized talent. And when he met my mom, he was still very junior and in the Marine Corps. And I don't know if him and my mom were ever very healthy for each other. My dad was a veteran suicide. He killed himself while he was active duty. He climbed into his Marine Corps issued sleeping bag, and that's what my uncle told me. Tied it up to his neck and took a shotgun in there with him, and that's how he took his life. And he did it in a way that he wouldn't be found. It wasn't discovered for some time, and he did leave a note, and the note set a land speed record, I think, for passive aggressiveness, saying that he hopes that action made my mother the kind of mother that he always wanted her to be. And that that was incredibly unfair. The entire act is unfair.
Foremost, sorry for your loss on that one. In all ways, as far as that goes, that's a rough start.
Yeah, and my mother had experienced her own stuff. She was sexually abused as a child. She was in the Army. She experienced, from what I understand, some military sexual trauma that was pretty intense as well. And a lot of this, because I was so young, comes from family members and really shattered kind of memories that have just kind of come up through the course of therapy and treatment and things like that. So that was a starting point, right? And what that starting point did was set a tone. And that tone wasn't that I was empowered or that there was compassionate, loving things out there that I need to connect to. The tone was that connection is a threat, that love is dangerous, and that I need to be highly aware of the people that I let in my life because I don't know what's going to happen. Right.
And even the ones you do let in, you don't trust fully. You are always waiting for that shoe to drop.
That was a large part of it. Yeah. And you talk about stigma, and for a guy, anyway, for me, I can only speak from the perspective of a man, it crushed my confidence throughout life because I never knew how to be capable. When I went into social situations, I went into them awkwardly. I went into them with an incredible degree of fear and anxiety. And it caused me to not really be able to identify with other people. After that happened to my mother or to my father, my mom went down a really bad path. And she ended up, hardcore into drug use. And I remember a lot of bikers being around. And the way that we lived was just really unhealthy. She would leave for days on end, leaving me and my little brother and my older brother in the house. I was maybe 4. My older brother was 5. My youngest was 2 or 3. We didn't know how to feed him, so we just took things out of the crisper and we put him in his little play area. We thought that's he'd figure it out. I remember him having mites in his face, like the kind that you see in dogs' ears, but he'd have them inside his sockets and things. I didn't know where to use the bathroom, so I would go upstairs and shit on the carpet, and that's just how we lived. It was challenging. I remember people coming into our bedrooms and messing with us at night. There were party after party after party, and at one point, and I remember this is a pretty clear memory, I tried to get her to stay because she came home. She was asleep on the couch, so I got her favorite donuts, those little white powdered ones, and I created a trail from her to my bedroom. And I thought if she gets up, she'll follow the trail of her favorite things into my bedroom, and that way if I fall asleep, she'll be there to be with me, to keep me safe. And my mom just didn't know how to manage the things that were happening to her. And, this is the early 80s, so it's not as if BetterHelp was sending us ads through Facebook, right?
Right. And mental health is nowhere, it was nowhere near what it is today, even though it still needs a lot of improvement. It was a shameful thing for mental health back then, for sure.
And that was the stigma, right? It was a mark of shame, right? It meant that that something in your character was broken, that you had a defect, not just in yourself, but there was something wrong with you in a sense that the rest of society shouldn't help you. And if you understood the early 80s, early 90s too, you understand what life was like. It just wasn't like what we have here. There wasn't such available resources with such encouragement driving people to those resources. So I remember the day kind of all this stopped. I don't know how it happened, but my grandparents, my father's mom and dad, my grandfather who had fought in World War II, he was now a preacher. They drove down from Acton, Indiana to where we were at in Washington State. And I remember when he came in, I just remember how clean he was. His shirt was tucked in. He had a shiny gold watch on. His belt was perfectly gig-lined like he'd been in the military, right? I mean, the man was just put together. And when he spoke with confidence. He spoke with happiness. He had a boom to his voice that came from a spark, someplace I didn't recognize it, but he was a secure man. He was capable. And because he understood life, he understood how to manage life, he was confident. And I didn't know what I was looking at, but all I knew is when it was around me, I instantly felt safe. And I remember him getting me and my older brother, and they were very excited, and we were excited, and they took us, and we went back to live with them in Acton, Indiana, where he pastored a church. And that's where I stayed for a very long time, up until I was about 12 years old. And I experienced such amazing things with in those early years. I remember my first Christmas. I was 4 or 5 maybe, and maybe 5. And we were in this big farmhouse in Acton, Indiana. It overlooked this wonderful field with this strawberry patch. And I was on the second story, and they're like, all right, well, time to go to bed, bud, because Santa's coming. And I'm like, who? And they're like, Santa. And I'm like, tell me more, and I didn't really understand what he was talking about. Nobody taught me about Santa. And And he's like, well, this really fat guy in this red hat are going to come down through the chimney. And I'm like, not on my watch. You know what I mean? I don't know what this is, but that doesn't sound right. And I'm not okay with that, you know? And I didn't communicate like that. But
Stranger danger, stranger danger.
we just got here. Now someone's coming down the chimney. And I stayed up all night and waiting for this man because it was one half exciting, the other half terrifying. And I waited up all night. Nobody came. So when I went home, when I went downstairs and I saw just stacks of presents, I mean, just so many of them, I knew two things almost immediately. And one was that Santa Claus was not real. And like immediately I'm like, this is bullshit. And two, this must be what it's like to be loved. Because
Yeah.
the toys that were there, like, I mean, they knew me. They had listened to me about what I wanted. And the way that they were wrapped so carefully and beautifully. And, you know, obviously they went crazy. They went full retard. So there's a lot of them. And
they were making up for lost time for sure.
the way they were happy, the way they smiled. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And I was able to let my guard down and start to lean in to what life can be like, just being consistent and stable. So that was kind of what led me up to early childhood, and that's what was going to, and I didn't know this, but that was what was going to establish some of the lifelong struggles, you know, the emotional attachment and damage that it had caused.
Give me just a second there. Take a quick pause. Want to acknowledge our viewers that have come in, and we've hit the 12-minute mark, so I can pay some bills real quick, read some comments, and then we can get on with the show and not have to filter as much. So, pardon me for 1 second. Thank you for joining us on the show tonight here at Smokin Jokin, or here at the Smoke Pit on the Smokin Jokin show. If you would like to start your own business, sell your services to the government, start your own organization, reach out to Artias at YESRTS.com. These guys are great. They will walk you through things step by step, hold your hand, break it down, varnish down, keep it simple, stupid. If they can lead me through, if they can lead Mike around eating ass through the process of building a website, setting up a shop on the site, and everything as far as that goes, y'all won't have a problem following along. Like I said, I can't spout out enough praise for these guys. They're great. That's YESRTS.com. For any service disabled veteran who is looking to do any of the above, you can still get all of RTS' services, but do it through their organization, vets365.org. They offer all the same services that RTS has to offer, but they do it at a 50% discount for service disabled veterans. That's vets365.org. Get on their calendar and get yourself a meeting with them and see how much they can help you out. For those of you who like our particular brand of humor, join us on Crown Eater's Wife 1775 over on Facebook. We believe in healing through laughter, so you're going to get your military humor, your dark, your inappropriate, your explicit. Anything we can do to put a smile on your face and make you spit your coffee out in the morning to keep you, from going to those dark places and becoming 22 is, what we aim at. We do try and sprinkle in the positive vibes as well with Motivational Mondays, Wellness Wednesdays, Pet Therapy Thursday. We just started a new one, for those who need to vent, Throat Punch Thursdays. Show All Tell All Tuesdays, where we share resources by highlighting veteran-owned businesses and veteran organizations, put the word out there about them so that, as many people as possible get the word about them and have the ability to request assistance if they need it or whatever as far as that goes. If you'd like to check out some of our gear, you can go over to CEW1775.org, click on shop. We've got ball caps, trucker hats, t-shirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, women's V-neck t-shirts, all sorts of gear over there. So check that out. I like to think that, all the gear is pretty cool. Unfortunately,
yeah, we designed it.
one of our hosts wasn't able to make it tonight. Lex Padilla, he's got his own line as well over on Etsy. Check him out at Mental Warrior 22 on Etsy. They've got some great shirts and coffee mugs, hats designed to spark conversations, kind of about some of the stuff that we're talking about tonight. Spark conversations on helping break the stigma of PTSD and other mental health issues. So check him out on Etsy at Mental Warrior 22.
And he will be back next Sunday this Sunday, sorry. He's enjoying Colorado right now, but he will be back on Sunday with Ask Jody. So be prepared for those questions to come out.
I'm excited.
And for those of you who enjoy the show, we are past our 100th episode, so we are trying to expand, diversify, improve on us DEI hires, whatever you want to call it as far as that goes. So if you would like to help us improve on that, the QR code here will take you to the Vets 365 page, and I believe in the top right-hand corner is a green button for donate. Any donations that go through Vets 365 will also benefit the Smokin and Jokin show. We need to get some better video and sound quality before we can move on to sponsorships and move on to other platforms like Spotify and Apple iTunes and stuff like that. Apparently our stuff is good enough for YouTube, but for the fancy smanchy Spotify and stuff like that, we need to get a little bit better audio quality, maybe a little bit better video quality. So anything you guys can do to support the show would be greatly appreciated. All right, bills have been paid.
Okay, Chris, it's Christmas and you've learned to trust now. You've let your guard down.
I don't know if I've learned to trust, but I definitely met some people who were willing to help me put my guard down. I was such a strange kid back then too. I mean, I hated the way things touched my skin, so I would wear everything up to my neck, tight, like button tight, had to be. I wouldn't wear jeans.
Were you wearing turtlenecks?
I was wearing anything that touched my skin, as long as I could feel something touch my skin. I wouldn't wear jeans. I would tuck my pants into my socks. I'm telling you, man, it was. Looking back, it looks just kind of eccentric when you're in the early 80s, mid 80s, but that was a sign of some serious trauma, and that trauma has affected my attachment style, and the attachment style that resulted means that I couldn't trust any adults, and that the people who might have something to do that could help me, I wasn't going to let in. It was disorganized, it was avoidant, and that went on for a while. And when I was 12 years old, my mom had called. She had finished up rehab, and she had remarried a guy named Dave Fahey, who would later adopt me. And he was a SEER instructor in the Navy. He taught people how to survive at POW camps and things like that. And I remember meeting the guy, and I loved him from day one. I was really into like ninja stuff. Like I had like a catalog with like ninja gear because I didn't think there was anything cooler than a ninja. I was 12, and I could never get my grandpa to co-sign on any of that stuff, right? And I had this catalog. I was like, yeah, there's this stuff. I really want these claws. My grandpa thinks they're for fighting. And before I could finish it, he goes, those aren't for fighting. Those are for climbing. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what they're for, I mean, it's the stupidest little things, right? But he got me. It's like I just felt like he instantly, like the man understood me. And when my mom asked me if I wanted to come and live with them, I didn't necessarily want to go back and live with them, but I definitely wanted to go live with him. And
is your mom in a better place at this point? I mean, your stepdad did sound like a really amazing person. So,
there was a large gap between them. My stepdad was a lot younger, and I should have been an area of concern. So although that she had been able to maintain her sobriety, she had not done any work, both emotionally and mentally, through some type of therapeutic process. And the whole point of any really therapeutic process that I've done personally was just to get to the root of something, so that I could address the hurt that was causing the negative thinking pattern that resulted in either a positive emotion or negative emotion. 90% of the thought patterns I had back then resulted in shame. I was ashamed to talk about my dad. I was ashamed to be a son of a guy who killed himself, right? I was ashamed about the way I looked, about the way I dressed, about the way I act, about how unconfident I was. And in that shame, you know, I thought that I was a bad person. I thought that I was a really shitty fucking person. I hated myself. So I had no self-worth. I had no spiritual principles. I had no values to speak of. Those weren't really taught to me. I modeled what my grandparents, but I didn't have them personally, right? I didn't cultivate anything. So when my stepdad came along, he was the first person that ever sat down and asked me those types of questions. You know, I was at an age where I could hear it, right? And he would talk to me. He's like, "What kind of man do you want to be?" And I was like, "What are you even talking about? I have no idea." And I would say, "Well, here's what I want to do." And he'd be like, "No, no, no. What kind of man do you want to be?" Like, because I can tell you what a man needs to do, you know? And he would talk to me about what it meant to have self-respect and to respect others. He would talk to me about what it meant to be confident, to be capable, and that a man's confidence is grounded in capability, and that if I would listen, he would teach me things that would allow me to be capable in this world. And from that, I could start to develop the confidence I needed to go out into the world and start working on the relationship I had with the world. And that means getting girlfriends and having relationships and making friends and losing friends and doing all those things that you do in the course of a lifetime and being prepared and capable of doing them and not blaming myself every time something went wrong.
Right.
That was me. Everything was transactional. And I was in order to get something, I felt like I had to do something, right? And I had to be perfect. I always felt like the only way to stay safe was to be perfect. And my dad,
I really feel you on that. That was a thing that I struggled with most of my life, and my parents, you know, they're amazing people, but you know, they made their mistakes, and everything always had to be perfect, and that was a hard thing for me to live out and figure out in my adult life.
that perfection always results in failure because you can't be, right? And then what do you do with failure? You know, I always internalized it. It just reinforced this negative self-image I had, and it just dove me deeper. So I might take one step forward, but I was just moments from taking 10 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
And my stepdad, Dave, was the first person that ever sat me down and be like, "Listen, buddy, it's okay. Like, none of this shit matters. You know, what we did yesterday isn't going to affect tomorrow, and what we're doing tomorrow has no bearing on today. Because you just can't live like that." And he's speaking recovery, but you know, it just came from a secure man who knew how to live life, right? So I fell in love with this guy instantly. I wanted a dad. He wanted to be my dad. He adopted me. And I can't exactly remember when this conversation happened, but you know, I knew my mom had her issues, and I knew those issues hadn't gone anywhere. And we'd wake up to converse. So when he was teaching SEER school, he'd have to be gone 2 weeks on the mountain, Rangeley, Maine, and then 2 weeks back home. So there's always this large gap where he wouldn't be there. And during that time, shit was fucking crazy. I mean, no structure, no rules, everybody going hog wild. And my mom didn't know how to maintain any of that.
Then dad would come, and everything had to be structured and you know, as so, and he had a certain way, and bedtime, so forth. That's how my mom was. Like, the structure went out the door, or consequences went out the door. Like, as soon as my dad would ground us, as soon as he would go on leave or go back to you know, base, we had no more. We were off grounding.
And without consistency, right, there can be no learning, you know? Like,
So not trying to push past as far as that goes, but just looking at time frame as far as that goes. I do want to progress a little bit as far as our whole interview goes. So I guess the question would end up being is, what led you into the Navy, and can you tell us about some of your time while you was in?
Yeah. So, you know, my stepdad was 100% responsible for that. When he had made a decision, and he and I made an agreement that no matter what happened, it'd be me and him. When he adopted me, I was his son, period, and that's where it ended. Unconditional love, right? That's what he showed me. That's what he taught me. When I turned 16, 17, I was diving, springboard diving. I qualified for the U.S. Program, which I was involved in. I was looking at a great future, and it was right around that time that he had drowned. And he had chose to get out of the Navy under an involuntary separation because they were wanting him to deploy again. And if he had to deploy again, I would have to go live with my mom. This was after they divorced. They separated on my 15th birthday. And he swore to me that would never happen. He swore to me it'd be me and him. So he made a choice to get out of the Navy and sacrifice his career just to make sure that I could have a future. When he did that, he took a job urchin diving, which is cold suit diving, dry suit diving in Maine. And one day he went down and he just never came back up. And after I got through IDing the body and we got through the funeral, I was lost. I tried to go back into my grandparents. It wasn't working out. I got heavy into drugs, just about everything I could find. And right around the time I was 20, I think just before 9/11, I went to a recruiter and I decided that enough was enough. And I wanted to be like my dad, my stepdad. I went into the Navy not knowing what I was going to do. I had dropped out of high school already. I barely qualified for the ASVAB. I scored an 8 my first time up. And I went back and studied. So bad. I was so high. I was high as fuck.
Game right.
I went in that first set. I was stoned out of my mind.
Instead of the one comedian that says, "Here's your sign," you got the "Here's your waiver."
So the recruiter was like, "I've seen worse," and I was like, "I must be doing great," And I didn't know what it meant. And he goes, "You're definitely gonna have to study. We need you at about a 30 to qualify you for most of the jobs." I was like, "Oh, a 30 ain't bad. Hell, I already got an 8." And so I went. I was like, "So what does this go up to?" And he's like,
"We're almost there."
So he's like, I was like, "What does this even go up to? Like 40?" He's like, "No, 99." I was like, "Oh, I did bad." He's like, "Yeah, you did pretty bad." So I went back and studied for like 6 months, and I came back and I scored an 87. Man, I rocked that thing. And I stopped using long enough to get my mind right, to get my body's focused, and my recruiter, you know how it is in the military, it becomes smaller and smaller once you get to know it. And somehow or another, I think he had heard of my dad. And SEER instructors aren't exactly everywhere, right? And so he took some real time with me after hours, let me pick out any job that I wanted. I came across Navy journalist, and I was like, "Are you telling me I could be a journalist, like a for real journalist?" He's like, "Yeah, the Navy's version." And it sounded reputable, and it sounded really amazing. Like I could start telling other people's stories, and I could start investing in creative ways of storytelling and talking and shining a light on people and things. And I just fell in love with it. And I was on like one of the last GED seats that were going through at the time, and I got to boot camp February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2002, and I was just so happy, man. I would look down at U.S. Navy every day when I was in boot camp, and I felt so proud. I felt like I finally belonged to something, like I was worth something. That should have been a big danger, right? I don't know if I joined the Navy for the right reasons. I needed validation. I needed it. I needed someone or something to tell me that I was good enough. And you know the military. You do a PQS, you sign everything off, do the right job, you're going to get a BZ, a NAM, a COM, whatever. You're going to get a letter. I mean, and it's all written on your chest. Everything you could accomplish was on Front Street for everybody to see. And if you know the military, you get unlimited tries, right? As long as you're good at your job, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I could be smacking hookers and smoking crack, but as long as I could pass the UA and get to muster on time, right? And like, I'm going to be okay, right?
So, not smoking crack. Right.
Now, I'm not saying that's what they look for. I'm just saying, like it's always going to be, the work will always shine through, and they care, man. They want you to succeed, and you know how it is. We're gonna help each other. We're just gonna help each other. So, I was in the Navy 18 and a half years. I achieved every possible thing I wanted to achieve while I was in there. I deployed 5 times, including 1 year in Afghanistan with boots on ground with the Army. I got to mingle around. I worked for NATO's training mission in Afghanistan. We had our own mobile convoy team that I got to command. I commanded missions. I participated in EOD bangs. I got to go on intelligence-led missions. I got to go on patrols. And I just felt like I was really starting to figure out what I was capable of, truly, like your real metal, right? And through the course of the deployments, I saw most of this natural world, 40 some odd countries. And missions range anywhere from defensive kind of combat stuff with the Seabees to humanitarian aid and disaster response and evacuation, called combat construction. I got to jump around from aviation to ships to the Seabees to Afghanistan. I got to see every platform I ever wanted to see. And what fucking killed me is after doing all of that, in 2013, I was named the Navy's top journalist and the Navy's top mass communication specialist in 1 year. I got in first place in our Russell Egnor Media Awards, right, for photojournalism. I swept it, and I killed everything I did. So why is it that every time I went home, I felt like a complete piece of shit? And it didn't matter what I accomplished. It started to run through. I still felt empty inside. You know, I'd gone through 2 wives. In the course of my first wife, we had lost a baby together, Brennan. He was born with preeclampsia. She had preeclampsia. You know, we didn't make it but a couple hours, but it was that choice, man. You know, the doctor pulled me aside and said, basically, one of these guys are going to live, either your wife or the baby. It just kind of depends on the choice you make, and you got to tell us which direction you want to go into. And I've never been faced with a more impossible choice. And
I couldn't imagine that. That's truly impossible. Is not even the word.
There was just, you know, it was just impossible. And I did the best I could in that situation. I did the best I could in all those situations. And you know, this is earlier in my career, but these choices that resulted in this pain, I just never dealt with. I bottled it up, I kept it down, and I just kept pushing forward. As operational as I could be as a journalist, I pushed. All I wanted to do was deploy. I didn't want to think, I didn't want to feel, I just wanted a mission, and I just wanted to push myself as hard as I could. That's my stepdad that just popped up. That's Dave. It's the only photo I have of him. He drank the worst beer, too. I'll never forgive him for that. It's like,
PBR?
yeah, be American, would you? Like, drink something dark. That Bud Light shit, no offense. Probably a lot of Bud Light drinkers, but
Don't worry,
anyway.
everybody hates them anyway, so it's all good.
So, you know, my entire career was filled with some really, really big ups, and really some big lows. And I walked away with a lot of things I hope I wouldn't experience, but ultimately everything came to a head in 2018, and I was using hard. I was drinking hard. I was coming off a divorce that left me in a deep depression. And by the time I was trying to talk to my command about everything that was going on, I was at a recruiting command here in Houston. It had just gotten to a point where I couldn't see a way out of it. I had a psychotic break leaving Corpus. I went down there to talk to the behavioral health department about all this stuff. I had that break, and my commander told me to come back up to the command, and they'd help me. It was a 3.5-hour drive, and I thought people were trying to ambush, right? I was all the different things that could happen on a convoy because I had commanded 109 of them. I was just seeing it all play out. I thought white trucks were all together working to push me off the road and to herd me someplace. I was nuts. I was out of my mind. And it ended up costing me my career. And later that Christmas Eve, when I had talked to my command about getting help, and I'm just coming slow like it can sometimes. And I was sitting in my car. I just bought the kids about $5,000 worth of gifts, and I knew they were going to be the last gifts I gave them. And I took about 30 days of all of these meds I was prescribed. I was Adderall, Percocets. You know, I had 2 back surgeries, 3 shoulder at the time. I took all of those medications that I was legally prescribed, right? 30 days of them down the hatch. And I watched this pizza sign at this pizza joint on I think it was State Street in Austin. And I just watched it fade out. And I didn't expect to come back from that. And
yeah, that's a surprise. That's shocking.
Someone found me, called the paramedic.
It tells you you're meant for something better.
I woke up under one of those coiled heating blankets, you know, and I was just so shocked to be alive. And I remember the taste in my mouth, and I was like, so this is what death tastes like. You know, I was like, such a weird thought. but like, I was just like, how am I here? And immediately I just thought about all the credit that I racked up, not expecting to be here. And you know, I'd like to say that was a big turning point, you know, but it wasn't. I went right back out and used that night. And And I got home, and I remember sitting there thinking, man, like, what now? Like, I agree with you, Beth. That I guess it wasn't my time. I ended up going to a bunch of different residential treatment centers and psychiatric hospitals. And when I would talk to them, it would be super simple, man. I just wanted to know why I couldn't feel love anymore. And everybody would tell me, oh, first we got to teach you how to ground and cope. Oh, very important. You're right. Then we got this. No one could tell me why I can't feel love. I mean, that was the heart of it. And that's what PTSD is. And now I'm diagnosed with 6 co-occurring illnesses, right? PTSD is at the top, but there's also borderline personality, severe anxiety disorder. And all of this stuff is just a mutation and a manifestation of the fear I experienced as a kid because I didn't think anybody loved me. That was it.
Yeah.
That's really it. Like, it's not overly complicated. It's a very simple problem that doesn't have any straightforward solutions. But love can cure love. I believe that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
And every time I go and talk to people, it just never came. So in 2020, I think I just got out of the Navy. They finally out-processed me. I had 18 and a half years. I did not get to retire. I did get out with a general under honorable conditions. I got disability. And I remember looking kind of at my life, and I just felt no connection to anything. And not my kids, not my favorite things, not myself, not to the house I was in, the people I was with, the friends that I had, nothing. And I just abandoned all of it. I stopped trying. I was voluntarily homeless for a year, sacrificed everything, sold my house, spent all of that on the streets. And in about a year, that took a year, to where the last thing that I had, I was down to just one pair of clothes. That was it. And it was a blessing, man. You hear this a lot with people in recovery. I got picked up for extremely low rent possession charge in Montgomery County. And Shannon Jemison just said he's telling my story. It's just such a common story, right? There is nothing unique about this story. It's only unique in the details. But the heart of it is always the same. And I'll never forget this very young Conroe cop who is just like, well, Mr. Fahey, listen, we have a warrant for your arrest. Yeah, it's definitely a felony, and it looks like you might be a fugitive. So, are you gonna rabbit on me, or? I'm like, nah. I don't know what to do. I was broken. I was tired. I weighed 144 pounds. I was done. And he goes, I'm gonna let you finish that cigarette and take it in, take a breather, really relax from this. And after this, we're gonna arrest you. We're gonna put you in some cuffs. We're gonna take you to jail. And honestly, I think this is gonna really straighten you out. And he wasn't lying, man. I got to Montgomery County. I met this wonderful Sergeant Kim Anderson, who oversaw the Veterans Pod. And when I got in there, they had mentors, trauma classes, VHA and VBA benefits advisors from the VA. I don't know when I had ever been in a place more productive for getting a veteran back on track. And this was in county jail. We did muster every morning. We saluted the flag. They gave us something to be proud about again. They gave us a different way of looking and feeling. And there was no banging, nothing could occur in there. We were a team, a unit, for as long as we're in that pod. And those guys, career criminals, right, who did this for a living, were talking real to me. Tell me what to expect if I made this my life. Tell me what to expect if I decided that this was going to be the path I went to. And then they promised me, they absolutely promised me that they were going to take from me, that they were going to work to take everything that I have, because that's what prison really is.
Yeah.
It is a place where you come to become a victim or to find victims. And then it sunk in. And I can't tell you how much I prayed in there. I surrendered more than I didn't even know what that word, but for the first time in my life, I just, that path for suicide, that was given up. I finally surrendered, and I just accepted somebody else's help, and I got out of my own way, and I decided I can't do this on my own.
Right.
And when I did that, I felt this weight come off, and then that's when the help started to happen. By way of God.
My apologies. Just because we are running a little bit short on time, you are so
You're
coming
definitely coming back
coming
for
back
a show
so-
too.
coming back for a second and or a third show, as far as it goes. But to get a little bit of the information out there, I'm going to fast forward a little bit on you as far as that goes. Can you tell us a little bit about Camp Hope, and then tell us a little bit about what you're doing now? A couple minutes before I got to pay the bills, and then we got to move into the next section. So.
Gotcha. So in jail, I came across the PTSD Foundation of America and Camp Hope. And Camp Hope delivers what it promises. It restored me to life. It restored my connection to God, to myself, to love. And it did it through one combat veteran helping another combat veteran. PTSDUSA.org/get-help. Get help. PTSDUSA.org. Get help is the place. If you're a male combat veteran, you can go to get help, and it's completely nonprofit and it's paid for. Have to be a combat veteran, serve in a combat zone, and unfortunately, for right now, they're building up other programs, but you have to be a male. That's what they're built for, right? And they showed me the way. Through them, I gained my life and I restored my relationships. Me and my kids are my best friends, and I started to learn how to hold space, build an interior life where I could find God and have God with me, and start making the next right choice each and every time. That's a very condensed version of what happened in there, but we can talk more about that. That led me right out of Camp Hope. I went to Sam Houston State University, where I just finished my bachelor's in psychology. And through the course of the 3.5 years, I've been in recovery since then. I have made space. I found the love of my life. I married her just 2 weeks ago. I don't deserve her, but she's just so amazing. She has 2 kids, and I'm super happy to be their stepfather, so I get to kind of really practice what my stepfather preached. You know what I'm saying? Right. I moved on. I did work at the foundation for a little while in their development office. It was a very good assignment for me. I love talking to people about Camp Hope. And I've now moved on to be the military and veteran outreach coordinator for Stone River Recovery Center, which is a trauma treatment center that's mental health, primary, substance abuse, residential, and partial hospitalization with boarding, which means it's a 30 to 45-day program for those experiencing trauma that's covered by most commercial insurances and all the TRICARES. And here's what I love about it. It's basically what Camp Hope did for me in 9 months. It does in a smaller way within 30 days, and it can do it for everybody, right? You don't have to be a veteran, a first responder, as long as you're an adult. And you can take a look at this program and see what it can do. And I love it.
That's amazing. Like, something you said really resonated with me, talking about like when you went out, you had a lot of anxiety for a while when you would talk to people and you were wondering why you couldn't make connections with people. That really resonated with me because I've kind of just thought it was my anxiety, but when I go out, I'm like word vomit. And, say too much, stick my foot in my mouth. And it's definitely something that I see that I can work on to become better and look at it in a deeper way. So I want to thank you for pointing that part of your life out, because I'm always trying to improve myself. And I always think that, the more work we do on ourselves, the better. So I'd love to talk to you about that at some point. And, maybe try to figure out exactly what it is that I need to work on.
All of these problems are super simple. The solution is where it gets a little hairy, but
I get it.
Some people aren't ready. I mean, you got some comments come across about how this type of conversation blows, and that's typically the kind of person that it hits a little deeper with. And everybody out there is experiencing some type of form of fear. And it's that fear that drives a lot of negative thinking and a lot of really unhealthy choices. And it can be super hard. It can be really hard to admit that there's fear. But if you're feeling anger, that's a secondary emotion to fear. And I'm starting to learn a lot about this stuff, what drives this. And I'm really excited to continue this at a master's level through this Earn Your Way In program at Harvard. And I'm just crossing my fingers they don't wake up and decide that I'm a dumbass and I need to get the fuck out of there.
I was going to say, we went from an 8 on your ASVABs to Harvard. Look at you now.
To be fair, it's an Earn Your Way In program, and I got to do 3 classes with B average before I can officially claim it. But I'm manifesting it right now. My wife bought me this.
Absolutely. I believe it for sure.
All righty. Give me a minute to pay the bills, and we'll move on to our game show segment, so to speak, as far as that goes. I will.
We haven't gotten a chance
Yeah,
to read any
I'll throw out an apology. I'm not going to be able to get to anywhere near all the comments that have come through. Most of them have been positive. There have been some side conversations in the comments as far as it goes that were kind of funny as far as it goes. Unfortunately, I just don't have time to get through all of them tonight, but pay the bills. I will try and make this quick. For those of you wanting to improve your business, start your own business, start your own organization, or sell your services to the government, reach out to Artias at yesrts.com. These guys are great. They will break everything down Barney style, hold your hand, and walk you through everything step by step. Once again, that's yesrts.com. For anybody who would like to do all of the above, but if you're a service disabled veteran, reach out to Artias through their organization, Vets365 at vets365.org. They offer all the same services that Artias has to offer, but they do it at a 50% discount. So go to the website, check them out, get on their schedule, and get yourself set up for success. For those of you who like our particular brand of humor, join us over on Crown Eater's Wife 1775 on Facebook. We believe in healing through laughter. So your military humor, your dark, your inappropriate, your explicit, anything we can do to put a smile on your face, make you spit your coffee out in the morning is what we're going to do. No, sorry, screen jumped on me. It was a squirrel moment.
Squirrel.
We do mix in the positive as far as that goes. We motivational Mondays, wellness Wednesdays, etc. And you threw me off, squirrel again. Thanks. Anyway, join us over on Facebook. It'd be great. If you want to check out the website, go to cew1775.org. Check out our gear. You can click on shop. We got t-shirts, women's V-neck t-shirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and a lot of other gear. Would you quit?
I'm telling him to hurry up.
Can for those of you who do enjoy watching the show, if you go to Vets365 or scan the QR code here and donate to Vets365, they are the primary sponsor at the moment for the show. We're looking to move over to Spotify and Apple iTunes. We need to get some new podcast gear as far as better sound quality, better lighting, and whatnot. So any donations you could make would be greatly appreciated.
Comments. I can't see them.
It tells me to hurry up, but then it's too blind.
Far away. I'm blind. I can't even lie.
Trying to find a couple of them here that I caught back. Marcus Reed, by the way. Reed, if you're still watching, this is an Ohio State house, by the way.
Yeah. He came on with a Michigan jersey for our 100th episode. We were like, oh, you must not like us.
Marcus Reed said, Chris, I find myself shaking my head at everything you're saying. When I was younger, growing up in foster care, I also believed that everything was just transitional. I think he meant transactional, but
yeah.
Yes, because I never felt good enough unless I was perfect. Now I'm really not physically and all. Ha ha sigh.
We love you, Kayla, just the way you are.
Where was the other one I was looking at?
I like the Upless tour. My drug of choice is toxic books and Latinas. Yeah, that'll get
you. Michael Glenn, glad to see you on the show, but brother, there it is. He was saying that he was a Navy journalist from 1998 to 2003.
Right when I came in. That is a really amazing person, and we actually called him and said, hey, we want you to watch the show tonight. I think you'll resonate with Chris. So I'm really glad to see him here, and he definitely seems to be relating to what you're saying.
It's a small community, us JOs. They merged us to MC, Michael, so I hope you're okay with that.
Ryan Miller, what's up, brothers? Seeing you in the comments as well. Man, it's been what? When did I get hit? 04. So it's been a long time.
04, yeah.
He was one of my Marines there in Ramadi. All right. Again, I apologize. I didn't get to anywhere near as many comments, but we are running a little short, so we're going to get to the funny game
And
show segment.
I love how Shannon said he's telling my story.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that you were able to, watch the show and relate to him.
I see a ton of programs for combat veterans that have an honorable discharge. Personally, I think it's bullshit because some of us are a special breed that are other than honorable.
Can't hope will take any discharge, by the way.
Outstanding.
There you go.
All righty. So we're going to move into the bad news advice. A reminder, this is we read the questions, and your goal at this point is to give the worst advice possible. We will allow Chris to answer, either Beth or I will answer, and then we will get to some of the comments, see what the viewers have for answers. Bad news advice 1. I just found out that my stepson is crapping golden turds. What should be my next step?
What?
I can't come up with bad advice for this, and all my advice is going to be like good, at least financially.
Ching,
He said gold turd, right?
Gold turds.
I say sell it and make to a dentist to make gold teeth.
Jeez. Kind of went deep down that one. That was kind of a rabbit hole.
And your breath smells like shit.
Yeah. Celebrate. Eat a bunch of food that'll clog him up. Fuck it. Taco Bell for everybody. I have gold
Who wants
turd.
to get clogging
Gold
up?
turd.
Feed him.
Give him an IV of Imodium.
Go to the strip club and meet a wife.
But then on the good advice side, I would say feed him a whole lot of laxatives, and get the gold dust instead.
Oof. So much work.
Wow.
Ryan said it's been too long. That's right, Ryan. Michael Glenn said the answer is almost always Phuket hookers. Michael, you're forgetting the gold. Well, pun intended on this one. You're forgetting the golden rule. What happens on float stays on float.
Shows up in your exams, though. That's for sure.
Kayla Smith said, "Gold turds." I'm in the wrong business. Lance McElhenney said, "Constantly feed him and making me eggs like for dessert every time." Okay. X-Lax.
Bunny is basically what he's trying to say.
Trade them to Jack for his beans. Ryan said MREs. All right, bad advice 2. I want to join the military, but I don't know which branch to join. What do you recommend?
Space Force. That's actually really good advice. I would join the Space Force today. I shit you not, I'd join the Space Force. It sounds so cool.
I would definitely join the Marine Corps, but get a Marine Corps tattoo before you actually.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
Navy SEALs right here.
Sorry, I had to
That's right. Get your trident. Tell everybody you're doing it.
Yeah.
Join any of the branches that have special services and get their special service tattooed right on your forehead before you go to boot camp.
Open up 5 lines of credit and don't stop until it's over.
Join the Salvation Army.
Tia said join the Salvation Army. Lance said indecisive little bitch needs to join the Air Force.
I would probably tell him.
Michael Glenn said.
Oh, go ahead. No,
Say again. Michael Glenn said, "Go fuck hookers in like 12 different countries, then find out which branch deploys to the region you like the best."
That sounds like it's been done, Mike. I'm not gonna lie to you, buddy. That's coming from, that came from a place of knowing.
I feel like you missed the mark, Michael.
Kayla Smith said, I hear some celebrities join. Psych. Yeah, bad advice 3. My spouse does not know that I am addicted to ordering off of Amazon Prime. What should I do? Stop hiding the boxes. We'll find out. So that's
I
not
was
advice.
just looking at you because I order a lot. I was looking to see what your advice
Yeah.
was.
I don't know how you hide that anymore. The amount of Amazon boxes that would be coming through if they're addicted to it.
Just don't order so much. Only order when you're drunk or emotional. That'd be my
That's
best.
what I do. That's how honestly that is like when I'm because I've been diagnosed bipolar, so I have manic episodes. And he can always tell that I'm having a manic episode come on is by the amount of orders that start coming through. He's like, I think you need to up your medication.
So Michael Glenn said he was innocent until he met us. Theo said order body bags and acid.
There you go.
Ryan Miller said max out the star card and then get kicked out. Does Amazon take the military star card? Good
I
question.
don't know.
Lance said
You wouldn't let me find
Taylor
out.
that she needs. I'm going to assume that's tell her that she needs to pay more damn attention. Ship it to your side girl's house, and then your wife will never find it.
I say meet the. Oh, this is bad advice. I was going to say meet the. Tip the mailman and meet him like down the street.
Ryan Miller said fuckers confiscated my uniforms and tried to make me pay for them all again. Damn, brother. All right, we can do one, maybe two hypothetical hijinks to kind of try and redeem ourselves a little bit. A wizard grants you the power of flight and invulnerability. The only catch is that every time you use the power, your sexual organs get either smaller if you're a man or looser if you're a woman. What do you do?
That was too long for me. Whatever it is, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna avoid.
Yeah, I think we just can't do that one. Okay, so we are running close on time. Please, again, tell us about Camp Hope. Tell us about Stone River Recovery and what you guys do and how you guys can help because that's what's important.
So when you're looking for any type of trauma, any type of emotional or mental health issue, what you're going to be looking for, in my opinion, is a program that allows you to reconnect to yourself, love yourself, nourish your self-worth, and then tether that self-worth to something that can reinvest in itself so that when you go to any type of program, you recognize it and you're prepared for it to be the best first step into a lifelong of recovery, right? Because that's what you're entering into, whether it's addiction, whether it's bipolar disorder, severe anxiety, none of this matters. It's all the same thing, and it's going to take many years, if not a lifetime, in order for you to fully recover and restore those relationships. So the most important thing is that you cannot treat trauma. You can't treat PTSD. It destroys your relationships. What you can do is learn how to restore those relationships, with yourself, with others, with the outside world. So Camp Hope does an exceptional job at doing that for male combat veterans. They do. It's an amazing job. You can also have to get back on your feet. So if you come there with nothing, they're going to provide everything. And then when you leave, you're going to be the most prepared that I've ever seen a person. Certainly it was that way for me. Now, some of us aren't male combat veterans. Some of us are veterans. Some of us are female veterans. Some of us are just male or females, right? That we're just adults. That's where Stone River comes in. Stone River is on the commercial side of it. It's in network with most commercial insurances, including all of the TRICARES, TriWest, and we're a preferred community partner with the VA. And it does exactly what I just said. It does it in a 30 to 45-day increment. And then when you leave, we step you down to what's called intensive outpatient program, and then into regular outpatient, which is therapy. And we have our hands on you for about a year, right? We bring you into residential, and as we step you down in care and levels of care, we're with you. I'm checking in with you every week for the next year to make sure that you're doing things that you're supposed to be doing in order to restore those relationships. We help provide wraparound services too. So if you're food insecure or you need a sober living home, we've got those relationships to plug you in. And for most people that I've seen come through the program that I brought in, that has been with zero out-of-pocket costs. So both of these options, whether or not you have insurance, are typically a great place to start. Calling me is a wonderful place to start because I'll be honest with you, is what we have. And if we don't have what you need, I'll try to plug you into what you can try. But these two programs, Camp Hope and Stone Rivers Trauma Treatment Center, they're the two most complete programs I've ever seen at helping a person learn to love again. And that's why I love them.
You know, I know a lot of people have issues like getting into a facility through the VA because there's just not enough beds. There's not enough programs through going through the VA. Can somebody, like, say in North Carolina, reach out to you and be able to attend?
Now, the VA, we're an extension of the VA's mission, meaning we're just working hard to be a good partner with them. So if the course of that treatment plan indicates that there's a residential treatment center needed and the VA can't cover that need, then we're there to help them with that need. And that's what the VA Community Care Network is for, is people like us who can be extensions of those, and I can help process those authorizations, and we can see what else is needed, what other hurdles are there in order to get them into the care they need. This is certainly a national program, and we accept people from all across the country.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm really grateful to have you on this show. I'm grateful that you now are, sorry, whether you like it or not, one of my resources. When we do have somebody who reaches out, I know you're fine with that. I just, but again, I really want to thank you for coming on. I do want to have you back because this is not a 1 hour conversation. Going through PTSD, talking about addiction, and, you know, like you said, when we're dealing with PTSD, there's no cure, but there are ways to live better. And I think that's a great conversation to have.
Definitely. Alrighty. From the smoke pit, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Sorry if I didn't get to as many of the comments, but Chris does have a very powerful and moving story to tell, and I didn't want to interrupt too much. Let him get that out there and let people know who he is and what he's about as far as it goes. He's obviously the type who those of us as veterans who would talk to somebody would want to talk to, because his story tonight shows that he's one of the few out there that when he offers help and everything as far as that goes, he's been there, he's done that. He's one of us as far as that goes. A lot of veterans won't talk to therapists or psychologists or psychiatrists or whatever other title you want to put to it, because we feel like most of them haven't been through what we've been through. So how are they going to actually be able to help? And Chris has been there, done that, got the t-shirt, as far as that goes.
Maybe
so
tattoo.
Reach out to Chris
Exactly.
in Stone River if you need some help. Once again, for those who do enjoy watching the show, if you're willing, we'd love for you to scan the QR code here in the corner, or go over to vets365.org, click on donate, make a donation. We're trying to get over to some other platforms, Spotify and Apple iTunes. As far as that goes, we could use some new gear to improve our sound quality and camera quality and stuff like that. Join us again on Sunday night. We'll be back. We are moving our time up an hour, so or back in, however you want to say it.
We're moving to 9 o'clock.
So join us Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. We will be here to put a smile on your face and get into some fun and shenanigans.
And Ask Jody, our very own Lex, will be back on Sunday. So I know all you ladies are excited about that.